A new drawing. All right, it's going to be the multiple step block. What you're going to notice is it's 3 inches tall by 3 inches wide by 1.5 deep. Each step is 1 inch as you go across, and I'll show you how to do the dimensioning for it. All right, first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to start by ripping our 4 pieces of tape. All I need you to do is everybody just follow along, watch it one time, and then if you have any questions, you can play back the video and you can watch it afterwards. All right, so you're going to line up the bottom. As soon as you line up the bottom, you tape one of your top corners. Slide your T-square up, tape your second corner, and make sure it's still lined up correctly. If it is, tape your third and your fourth, making sure the paper is nice and flat. All right, we're going to do a border and a title block. Stop doing things, guys. Just watch the video. What is that noise? 1/2 inch and 1/2 inch in? Because you're not on the school Wi-Fi, pal. You got to sign into Google, not into your personal. It'll be in the school email. That's what that noise was.
No,
You're not. If it makes that noise, it means that somebody from outside the district is trying to join. So make sure you're on your Walter Reyes, Sewantica School District website. All right, so now you're going to go up half, excuse me, 1/8 inch 5 times, not half. You go 1/2 inch all the way around, you go 1/8 inch 5 times, and you measure them from the edge here, 3, 6, and 9. At the 9 mark, I leave a light line up, and that's going to be my reference for where I bring my title block over to. Bring your 5 lines of your title block over. Use your triangle and do your dividers. Now your dividers are done. The start point for this drawing is going to be 11/16 up, and it's going to be 2 1/4 over. Now there's an example of this on Schoology, and it's got all the measurements on it that you'll be able to use. So at the 2 1/4 mark up, you're going to draw yourself a nice light line as reference up the paper. You're going to bring a horizontal line across at the 11/16 mark. You're going to measure and mark the 1, the 2, and the 3. Go this way, mark the 1, the 2, and the 3. Using your T-square very lightly, draw some lines across the paper. Using your triangle. All right, I want to make that step look. I want it to look like this. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, I made my marks for the measurements, and instead of drawing them all the way at the paper, I'm going to draw it very dark from these two, where I know it's going to be, and then above, I'm going to draw a light line up for reference. So this 2, I know it's in the middle. Light line up for reference. This one, it's on the top. Light line up for reference. You start to see the step shape. Do the same thing on the side. I'm going to measure over 1 inch. And I'm going to measure 1 1/2. Because that's the depth. And this way I'm going to go very dark the whole way. So I know that's where it starts and ends. I'll go to the top and measure 1 inch in between. And then 1 1/2 for the depth. Using my T-square. I'm going to draw myself a nice dark line from start to finish. Like that. Erase the tails. Just like that. Okay? Erase the tails over here. Right? And then what we're going to do is we're going to actually dimension this drawing after we darken it up. When we do our dimensions, we do dimension and extension lines. The dimension lines the dimension lines are going to be a 1/4 inch away, and the extension line is going to be 3/4 of an inch away. So watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to place the 0 next to the edge of my drawing. I'm going to mark a 1/4 and a 1/2. I am going to draw an extension line out 1/2 of an inch. I leave a little gap between the corner of the drawing and the extension line start point, but it's still going to be a 1/2 inch away. Up here, I'm going to draw a little longer line, and I'll erase it later. At the 1/4 inch mark, I draw my dimension line. The dimension line should be a long line with a break in the middle, like this. I write my measurement, 3 inches. I put an arrowhead. Arrowhead should be tight, closed, and darkened in. I line up my triangle with this 1/2 inch mark I made at the end of the extension line. I use my eraser, and just like I would use a pencil, I erase to that 1/2 inch mark, and that's what my extension and dimension line look like. If I want to do an extension and dimension line down here, I draw a light line down off the edge, a light line down off the edge. I measure down 1/4 inch and 1/2 inch. At the 1/4 inch mark, I draw my dimension line. At the 1/2 inch mark, I move my T-square down to the 1/2 inch mark, and I erase anything that goes past the 1/2 inch mark. I make sure that there's always a gap in between the corner of the drawing and the extension line, and I draw my measurement in here, 3 inches, with the arrowheads. Now, I'm still going to have to go back and darken my whole drawing up. But the cool thing about when you darken your drawing up is if you lift your pencil, you could draw your extension line out. So darken my drawing up, lift my pencil, okay, darken my drawing up, here, here, and if I want to do an extension line here, I draw my extension line out when I'm doing it. I measure out from the side, 1/2 inch and 1/4 inch. Use my triangle, and I can actually do my dimensioning like this. Now, what I did wrong here, I should have did the 3 inch one here, and I should have did the 1 inch ones here, but it doesn't really matter. You can do them both spots. My extension lines just are going to not be right from the edge of the drawing. That's all. So that'll be here. I measure over to the 1/2 inch mark. I take my eraser. I erase the extra. Okay, I use my pencil, and I write in 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch, and I put my arrowheads pointing at the extension lines like this. Okay? Now, that's how it starts to get set up. You want to make sure that you darken your lines here like this before you go to hand this in. You make sure that you have all the dimension lines and extension lines that are included in the example. I'm going to stop sharing this, and I'm going to pop over to the example drawing.